In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to remote start your Subaru Starlink equipped Subaru using Google Assistant and a Windows 10 computer. So there's a couple things you're going to need. You're going to need Python. You're going to need an app for your computer called Push2Run. You're going to need an IFTTT account. You're going to need a Push account, and maybe a few other things. But we'll start right with that. So the way that this works is when you say the magic words to activate your Google Assistant and you say, start my car, um, IFTTT is going to forward that message along to Pushbullet. And Pushbullet is then going to forward that message along to Push2Run. And then Push2Run is going to trigger our Python application to remote start your vehicle. So that's kind of the complicated workflow. You're going to need to have a computer that's always on because your computer has to be running for this workflow to operate. You're going to need a Subaru Starlink enabled Subaru of a certain age. I'm not sure which ones are compatible with what, but if you can remote start your car from your phone, this should work for you. So those are the prerequisites. Now let's get into the installation. So this will be available in the description below. First step we need to do is install Python. I'm not going to show you how to install Python because it's literally just a download and then like a next install run kind of scenario. So there's nothing that needs to be changed or tweaked. You can keep the default settings and you're off to the races. So I'm going to move this out of the way here, and then step one is going to be we need to create a folder. And I'm going to create my folder in the C drive right here. So I'm going to call this folder subarulink. That's the name of the Python application that we're going to be installing. So once I have that folder created, I'm going to go ahead and open up command prompt. So let's see here. We're going to want to run that as administrator. Move that right on over here. And then you're going to want to point your command prompt to that folder that we just created. And then we're going to create a virtual environment inside of that folder. So you can pause if you need to. Like I said, you can always copy and paste this out of the description. So you might have seen that that took a minute to retally kind of down here and allow me to enter my next command. So it might take a few seconds while it's doing what it has to do in between commands that you can copy and paste. So next command here, this command is going to activate that virtual environment that we just created. And then this command here is going to install subarulink. So you'll see what mine says cached, using cached, blah, blah, blah. I've already installed this once before, so that would be the reason why the download was cached. Yours will actually have to download. So you'll notice this yellow warning message here telling us that the PIP needs to be upgraded. You'll just copy and paste this command, and the PIP will upgrade. So as a test here to see if we have successfully installed our server, or not server, but our application, you can start that application, and you'll notice that SubarLink setup is populated in there, so it's obviously running, and we can communicate with that application. So we can go ahead and exit out of this window, and then we're just going to go straight back into another command window here, and essentially we're going to do part of what we have already done all over again just to get back into that virtual environment and talk to our application again. So you'll have to forgive me, I am certainly not a Python expert. I don't know actually anything about Python other than how to make this work, so my terminology might be a little wacky, but I know enough to make this happen for you guys. So, awesome. Now that we have our application running, we can do a different command here that will allow us to configure the remote start. So we're going to enter in, you can see right here that it has like different qualifiers or whatever you would call them that you would put after the name of the application to get to a certain thing. So I is going to give us interactive mode. So subarulink-I, we're going to click that. It's going to have us select our country, USA. And then you're going to enter in your Starlink username, your Starlink password. You'll want to type these in before you click enter, obviously. And then your Starlink PIN. So then you're going to click yes to remember your credentials. And you'll notice I get an error here. I didn't enter in any information. Now, there's a good reason for that. I don't want you guys to see my information. It will, after you enter in that information, it will communicate with your vehicle. It'll give you your current location, it'll give you your battery voltage, it'll give you all kinds of information that isn't pertinent to what we're doing, but I don't want that information to be displayed here. But let's say, for example, you misenter your credentials and it doesn't work for whatever reason. You're going to want to be able to update that credential folder. So we're going to go to our C drive here. We're going to go to users, and you're going to select your user account. You're going to select config, and you're going to select subarulink, and then you'll have a config file. So this file type is a CFG file. You can't open it with anything, obviously. So we're going to need to open up a notepad, and then all you have to do is, let's make this a little bit smaller here. All you have to do is drag that file into your notepad, and it will then open up and give you what you need. So we can turn on word wrap here so we can see what we're doing. You would enter your username between these quotation marks and your PIN number. If you made a mistake, you can edit it here. Just exit out, click save, and then I'll show you guys what to do next in just a moment. All right, so if you did, for whatever reason, end up entering your credentials wrong and you had to go in and edit them in the config, you're just going to jump back up one step, re-enter the Subaru link -I, and it'll re-pull that folder, check the information, and then now it'll show you this, which is it's ready for a command. So you can see I have a 2022 Impreza Premium. What we're going to do now is you can type question mark, and it'll give you a list of different commands that are available. So most of this, or actually all of this, is stuff that you could do from the Subaru app. But these different commands will come in handy later if you choose to do more than just set up voice remote start. You could do like voice unlock, you could do voice lock, voice horn, whatever you wanted to do. So now we can move on to the next part of the configuration. We need to set up the remote start function. So you're going to type in remote_start set, and then it's going to have us enter in a bunch of information. My car is not equipped, even though it's a premium, with automatic climate controls for some reason. So none of this really applies to me, but if you do have like the digital climate controls, or you have the auto button, this will apply to you. So you can enter in a temperature. You're going to enter in what mode you want the blower to be on. So I'm just going to say blowing on the window. I want it to be the hottest possible because it's winter time. I'm going to set the fan speed to high, which is 7. So I'm going to enter in 4 here. I want the driver's seat heater on. Obviously, it's cold outside, which I don't have automatic seat heaters. So again, this part does not apply to me as well. Rear defrost, we're going to turn that on. We want to recirculate the inside air that we just warmed up. And then we want the rear climate control on as well. So we're going to type in 2 for true. Then we want to save these settings. So it'll just give you a readout of what you just entered there. And then now we can test and see if the vehicle starts. So let's see here. I'm going to copy the remote start command. We're going to click enter. So it'll tell us it's going to run for 10 minutes. It'll tell us what the climate controls that we had just set up are going to be. And then I don't actually even really know what that means because it's the keyless car. But so your vehicle should have started. Might take between 5 and 10 seconds or so. But obviously we don't want to leave our car running. So we are going to enter in remote_start off. So if you need to retype the previous command that you were just typing, you hit the up arrow key. It'll paste it in there. You could backspace the on out of there and then enter off. And that will shut your vehicle off. You can only do this so many times in a row before your remote start will be disabled because you've done it too many times. You got to go out to your car, turn the car on, manually turn it off, and then your remote start will be able to be used again. But anytime you drive afterwards, it'll just automatically reset. So car started. This is working. Now we can move on to the next. So now we need to navigate back to that folder that we had created in the very first step right here. And we are going to create a batch file. This is a script that is going to start the car, and that script will be triggered by Push2Run. So let's see here. We're going to right click and we're going to click New Text Document. There's probably a better way to do this, but it doesn't matter what you name this document at this moment. So you're going to open this up, and then you're going to copy and paste the information that we're going to need in there. So this is going to point this script to our Subaru link, and it's going to give the Subaru link a command to start our vehicle. This command, the cmd/k, that is going to keep the command window open after it runs the command. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to leave that, but you might want to delete that so every time you go to use your computer, there isn't a black command window that's just been left open. So we're going to leave that there for my purposes. We're going to go to File, Save As. We're going to name this remote start.bat. So enter in remote start.bat right there. You're going to click Save. We can go ahead and X out of there. So you'll see now our text document is there, and then our new script is there. So we can delete the text document, and you could double click this. It will start your vehicle again. It should anyway. So we want to install Push2Run. That's another just click through installation, no special anything. Once you have Push2Run installed, this is going to be the first box that you are greeted with. So you're going to go ahead and click OK, and we have it open right here. So we're going to need to enable Push-Bullet. So you're going to check this box, and then we're going to log into Push-Bullet and get our API key. So the other guide that is in the steps below, which I will open up right now and show you guys. This gives us a more in-depth look at specifically the steps that we're going to take to get Push-Bullet to work. So the link is for this in the description. I'm going to be following this guide going forward instead of my guide, and we're going to get Push-Bullet set up and ready to go. So once you have logged in to Push-Bullet and got your account all set up, you're going to head on over to your profile picture. You're going to click My Account, and then you're going to hit a Create Access Token. So this is going to give us the API key that we are going to paste into Push2Run. So now that you have your API key pasted in there, you're going to want to leave this title filter in here, but we're going to go ahead and copy that because we will be needing that in another step here. So now you're going to want to get signed in to IFTTT. Once you're signed in, you'll be on the My Applets page. So this is what we're going to create an integration with. So you can see here this integrates with Google Assistant and Push-Bullet. So I'll show you guys an example of what it looks like once it's fully connected, I guess. So if we go to the settings here, this is kind of the workflow. So if I say start my car or start the car, then she's going to say, okay, got it, as a response. And then it's going to push a note to Push-Bullet. And that note is going to be the name of our PC that came from here. So if we go into where it shows us our API key again, for Push-Bullet, Push2Run Brandon's PC. So that's how it's going to know what to trigger. So let's go ahead and set up another one here. All right, so we're going to hit create. We're going to add a trigger here. So our trigger is going to be Google Assistant, which you might want to search for, otherwise you'll be looking for a long time. So we got Google Assistant here, and we're going to do say a phrase with a text ingredient. So what do you want to say? Now, if we pull up our guide here, this person says, tell my computer to $. The $sign is the text ingredient. So that's anything after the $sign is basically what Push2Run is going to be listening for. So I'm going to say, what do you want to say? Start, and then $, my car. And then I can also do start the car. And then whatever you want the Google Assistant to say, that would be, like, okay, I've started your car, or whatever. So she's just going to say, okay. So I'm going to hit create trigger. Now we're going to add a trigger, which is going to be push bullet. And you might need to link your push bullet if you haven't linked it yet. And then we're going to do push a note, excuse me. So we'll open up our Push2Run, and we'll go to File, Options, Push Bullet, and we're going to copy this information here. Now I'm not sure if that copied. Yes, it did. So now we can head back on over to here. We're going to paste that in there. We're going to hit Create Action. So we're going to click Continue. And then if you say, start my car, it's going to push a note to push bullet. Push2Run is listening for that note. And now we're going to set up the part where we make Push2Run start your vehicle. So now that this is all done here, we can head back on over to Push2Run. And then we can click OK on this. So now what we're going to need to do is we need to add an action. So this calculator action and this master switch are there. So we're going to go add an action. And this is going to be remote start. And then what we're going to do now is we need it to open a specific item. That specific item is that batch file that we created earlier. So we're going to go back to our C drive. We're going to go back to the subarulink folder. And here's our bat file. So the link to this file is essentially right here, but we're missing the file name itself. So we can copy that, and we're going to put that right here. We're going to add another /, and then we're going to type in remote start.bat. And that will point this command here. So now what we need to do is we need to tell Push2Run exactly what to listen for. So remember, anything after the $sign is what it's going to be listening for. So it's going to be my car. It might just also be my, so you can enter my as well. And the. So now, because that was the secondary option that we had. So now you can click, let's actually do this. We'll add those two as well. So now you can click OK. And you're going to want to turn that bad boy on here. So let's see here. We can exit out of this here. You need to make sure your API key is in there, though. Otherwise, this is not going to work. So you should see a message down here at the bottom that says push bullet connection is good. So that means that Push2Run has the capability to connect to push bullet and listen for those messages. Now all you'll have to do is you should be able to simply just say, OK, Google, start my car. And we should see a message pop up right there. It's going to run our script. And remember, I had that command in there, so this window stays open. Yours might not stay open if you did remove that piece of information from the bat file. So now that this is running, my car, I just heard it outside, it just started. And that worked flawlessly. So that is pretty much it. That's the whole process. You could then add more commands and more batch files for locking the car, unlocking the car, turning the car off, and various other items. But that's the 62-step process to, the workaround for OK Google, start my car. And sorry for all the Google Homes that just activated. And there you go. It's going to try to start my car again. But that's the process. If you guys have any questions, drop a comment below, leave a like, and I'll try to help out as much as I can.